Assalamu alaikum. Good morning, good afternoon. Hello, everyone. So, I hope you people are excited about today's session, and I'm quite sure you're really going to enjoy today's session. And today's session will be handled by Mr. Jalil Ahmed, and he has been working for more than 15 years on .NET. He has worked on almost all the frameworks of .NET, and currently he's Azure solution architect. He's architecting really great projects, especially on multi-tenancy. So I'm going to make Mr. Jalil Ahmed the presenter, and he will take over the session from here onwards. And one more thing, I would suggest everyone to put your mics on the mute mode. And if you have any doubts, any queries, you can just put it in the comment box. And what we will do at the end of this session, we will take all the queries one after the other. And whatever is possible, we'll try to answer those. If there is time limit, why? Because Mr. Jalil Ahmed has taken time out from his busy schedule. He's a solution architect. So on our request, he has given 1 hour of his time to us to teach you something about Azure, and you will see. So I would suggest Mr. Jalil Ahmed to take over the session, and I'm going to make you the presenter.
All right. Thank you very much, Manzoor. Hello, everybody. This is Jalil. I'll be the instructor for this session today. Okay, I'm just waiting. I think I'm the presenter now. Okay, let me share my screen. All right. So, as Manzoor has already informed, like just please keep all your mics on mute and also make sure your mobile phones are silent mode. And you know, this is after lunch session, so please don't fall into sleep. All right, let's go ahead. As you might have seen, like we'll be looking into Azure Cloud Solution, Azure Cloud Platform with respective to .NET developers. As a .NET developer, what do I need to know into this to start exploring this, you know, huge platform out there? So like if you know, Google it or you search it on YouTube, you will find so many videos, so many links, and it's all so confusing that as a developer, like I'm coming from a .NET background, so I have created applications in web applications or Windows applications. I know how to work with SQL database. I know how to work with, you know, web APIs. I have that experience. But as a .NET developer, now I'm getting into a cloud Azure cloud platform, so I might get lost into this huge, you know, infrastructure out there. So what I was thinking, like, let's do this a simple webinar so that I'll give you an overview to what to expect out there into the Azure platform for .NET developers. Like, so we'll basically see what we have been doing all these years. So as Manzoor told, like I have 17 years of experience into web application development, mainly into Microsoft Stack. So I have been developing application across multiple domains. So mostly I started in framework 1.1. That was the first version. So I also tried the beta version of it. So like that is about me. So in today's session, we are going to have a brief introduction of cloud computing. What is cloud and what do we, nowadays you see cloud computing everywhere, right? So what it is about it. So I'll not be spending much time or on this. I'll be giving you a brief introduction. I want to spend more time on the coding part, and I want to spend more time into the Azure portal. So we'll have a brief introduction, and then I'll show you how do we create our account on Azure portal. I'll show you the steps there. Then we'll see how do I set up my environment, like what are the things I'm going to need it as per my requirement, and how do I set up my Azure environment after I create my account there. So specifically I'll be seeing how do I set up my storage account. Storage accounts are nothing but the file servers. In Azure environment, or terminology, we call it as Azure Storage Blobs. We'll see more into it when we actually go to that section. Then we'll see how do I set up an app service. App service is a web server. Like you create a web application or web portal, and once you want to roll that out, once you want your clients, your actual end users want your end users to use it, so you will deploy it on a production server. Basically it's a web server. So we'll see how do we do that in Azure. So we'll be creating a web server. In Azure terminology, it is called as app service. Okay, it is nothing but your IS server. Then we'll see how do we create your SQL database. Like 99.99%, like all your websites, web applications require some kind of database to store data and retrieve from. So we'll see how do we create databases into Azure platform in Azure environment. Then we'll go to the hardcore, this coding part of it. So from my C# web API, how do I connect to this storage account? How do I store data into the database? And finally, how do we put all this together on the live side on this app service? So we'll be writing some code here to upload files into this storage account. Next, we'll again write some code to save that data. Usually what happens in any web application, there might be a requirement to upload some data, upload some attachment files. An employer might be generating pay slips and is uploading it to the portal. As an employee, I log into my account and I download my pay slip. So there might be many scenarios where a requirement might be there to upload files to this your website, your web portal. And at the same time, we also want to store the metadata of that file, like name of the file, information about that file which is uploaded. We want to store that into the database, like name of the file, at what time that file was uploaded, what is the type of that file, and what is the complete URI, the absolute part, the complete part of that file. So we'll be storing that information into a SQL database. And then finally, we'll see how do I download that file through my web APIs. So again, like it's pretty basic scenario for any given web application. So, and if you think that's all what we do in any web application apart from the business domain, core business logic, like technical point of view, this is what we do, right? We create data into database, we read data from database, we call it as CRUD operations, and then you have some files getting generated, and we have some files getting uploaded by client or for client, or by user or by for users. Then we have some scenarios where we also need to download those files. So that's all we are going to look at today. So finally, the most important thing is how do I push everything to this Azure environment? Okay, we'll see how do I publish this and how do I deploy this. So what is cloud computing? This is a definition from Microsoft. Basically, like it says, it's a huge world out there. Like you have your servers, you have storage, then you have databases, then you have networking, all these things and many more things into the cloud. Cloud is, let's think cloud as internet. So everything is in internet. What is the advantage? This is the most advantage. This is the part, like it helps you to lower your operating cost. Okay. Suppose today I want to set up my own server. First thing, I have to invest into the hardware. I have to buy that physical machines. Next, I have to buy software. I have to buy operating system for that. I have to buy all the licensing for the software I need. Next, I need to hire at least 1 or 2 people to look into that, like as IT administrators, to look after that physical device. And I may also need to add some security to that, maybe like some CCTV cameras, or if it's a really big server like a data center for my organization, I may also need to have 24/7 security people guarding that system. So if you look at it, it's a huge cost for someone to start that business. So the other option is like you can go with any cloud solution providers nowadays, and I'll be avoiding all these expenses. I'm just going to pay what I'm going to use into this. We'll see what it is. So basically why everybody is moving to the cloud computing is, let's see this in a picture actually. So this is your internet. So, and there are many services available, but as I discussed, we will be looking into web service today, the web server called app services here, and we'll see storage, the file servers called storage accounts here, and we'll see this databases. Specifically, we'll be looking into the SQL database. So this is your cloud computing, and we create resources. I'll call it as a server is a resource, my file server is one resource, my database is one resource. All these resources are clubbed together in a logical unit on your cloud computing. And these are the deployment module. Okay, depending on my requirement, I would choose my private cloud, or I'll choose a public cloud, or I'll choose a hybrid cloud. Private cloud is the companies, very huge companies, they want to have everything within their premises, or they want to have it very restricted access. It's very rare, or there are some federal laws, or some central government projects which need high security. They'll prefer this private cloud. Remaining 99% people will prefer public cloud because this is very cost effective. I mean, because I'm going to share the resources, so it's very easy. And hybrid is like, this is combination of private and public. Like some of my resources might be private and some of the resources I can be using from public. So these are the deployment modules. So as a .NET developer, I may not need to worry about all these things. There are various aspects into this Azure platform. You might be working on Azure as a developer, that is one role. You might be working on Azure as an architecture or designing, that is another role. Or you might be working on Azure as an administrator, setting up all these things, maintaining your Azure portal and all. So today we are looking into Azure as a developer. Okay. So I think this is a good brief introduction. Let's go ahead and see what do we have. Okay, the next thing is like, let's sign up for an Azure portal. I actually have an account, so I'll not be signing up completely, but I'll show you all the steps involved in order to create an account. Good thing is you can start free, and initially when you create your new account, you will be given $200 worth of credit, which you can use it for your resources. So I'm going to minimize this. I'll move to a browser. Any browser is fine. I am using a Chrome browser. Okay, I'll open a new tab. I tap azure.com. It should take me to azure.microsoft.com. So to create an account here, we need a Microsoft Life ID. Okay, it's taking a time. So I can either click on this free account, or I can click on start free here. See, I'm not signing in right now. So I'll click on start free. I'll show you all the steps involved here, and I'm going to use one of the account I already have. So I'll click on start free. Okay, it's going to redirect me to the authorized URL OAuth. Just bear with me. It's quite okay. I think I'm already logged in. I just want to show you how it looks like if you're not logged in. I'm just signing out. All right, it's taking a little more time today. Let's bear with me. Okay, suppose you don't have a Microsoft account. What you would do is you would create a new account here. But I already have an Azure account, so I'll just use that one. I'm using this developer webinar at Gmail account. I'll give my password. So it is authenticating my password there. Then it should redirect us to the sign up page of this Azure where we were left out. So one thing we need to create an Azure account is we need to have Microsoft account. So basically there are 4 steps involved here. You have to give information about yourself. You have to identify your phone number. Then you have to identify your credit card. It can be either credit card and debit card. Final step is you have to agree to the contract and just click on agree. So like first step is you'll fill in your first name, last name, email address. It has already taken your phone number, your designation. Your PAN ID is optional. The next step is like I'll just fill in some data. First name, last name, some phone number I'm giving it, test organization. Then I'll click on next. So here I have to give my valid phone number. It's going to either send me a text message or it's going to call me on my phone number to verify my phone number. Then next thing is like you have to give your credit or debit card details. Normally, like if you see any checkout process, that's what you give there, right? So you give that your credit card details. Don't worry, it's not going to charge you anything. It's going to just charge 1 rupee to verify you have a valid card, and later it's going to reimburse that. It will credit that 1 rupee back into your account. It's not going to charge anything. So as I told you, it's going to give you $200. Like if your currency is Indian rupees, like you will be getting 13,300 rupees as your credit, which you can use it in your first 30 days. Okay, assume that once we are signed up, like this is how it looks like once you. Okay. So after you sign up and you log in, you will land on this page. This is called your dashboard for your Azure platform. There are many services available here, and basically this is how you create your account, and this is how you log into your Azure portal. You can save this particular link in your bookmark this link. Okay, let's see what we have next in our PowerPoint. Okay, let's see how do I create a storage account. Storage accounts are nothing but your file server on Azure. Okay, once you log into your Azure, you should see a shortcut here called storage account, or you can type into your search. If you don't see that, you should see it there, but if for some reason if you don't see it there, you can type in your storage account. So right now there are no storage accounts into my this, so I'll create a new storage account. So think of storage account like your Google Drive or your Microsoft OneDrive. The only thing is this is more restricted. Okay, and you'll be uploading files, downloading files through your code. So we need a resource group here. As I told, like all these are resources and we want to put everything into a group. Okay, I'm calling it as my group. Storage account name, I'm giving everything should be in lowercase. If I just type uppercase, it says only lowercase letters are allowed. So there are a few restrictions. I'll call it's my file manager. Okay, I'll accept all defaults here. We'll go to networking. This is all fine. Go to data protection. This is also fine. Okay, one important point here is on this advanced tab, there's one point called secure transfer is required. Basically what it is saying is in order to upload files or download files into this storage account, you need to have HTTPS. Okay, this is recommended for security reasons in your production environment, in your live environment, but because this is a demo and we are going to do it from localhost, I'm going to disable this. All right, another thing is like block public access. Okay, it is enabled here. It means like all the files you're going to upload into this storage account are accessible to anybody from outside. So we still want to, like in real-time scenarios, you might want to disable this, but for a demo purpose, I'm just keeping it enabled here. Okay, then let's go to tag and review and create. It's going to validate the settings what we have given. It's running the validations are passed. Let's click on create. So it's going to create a storage account for us now. Okay, it might take a minute or two depending on the load on the server. So we can keep an eye on here. So it says on this notification, says the deployment is in progress. So it should be done in a minute or two. Okay, it says the deployment is complete. I can go to this resource. Okay, it says deployment is complete. Click on go to this resource. So this is your storage account. This is our storage account called My File Manager. Okay, under this I'm going to create a container. There are different types of containers, file shares, tables, queues and all, but let's stick to some fundamentals, basics. We'll create a container. Containers are nothing but folders in your storage account. So I'll create a folder, a container. I'll give a name as my folder. I'll change the access level to public so that anybody can access all the files within this. Create. Okay, it's created successfully. I'm going into this folder now. I'm into this storage account, my file manager, and within that container, my folder container. Here I can upload files. Okay, let me manually upload a file here. Okay, I have few test files here. I should see. Okay, so let me upload an Excel file, some financial sample Excel file. Okay, I can check this. If I already have a file with the same name, it will overwrite that one. Right now it's a new account, so it's not needed. Okay, it's uploaded, completed. So I can see that here. And if I go to properties, okay, this is the URL of my file. I can in fact copy this one and let me go to another browser. That way I'm just making sure that I'm not logged into that account, and let me paste it here. So I should be able to download that file. If I have that URL, I should be able to download that file. So we have seen successfully how to create a storage account. Then we have created a container and we have manually uploaded a file, and then we were able to access it from outside. I'm into a different browser now. For this I'm using this Microsoft Edge. Okay, so let's see what do we have next. So we have seen how do I create a storage account, and next let's see how do we create an app. Actually, before getting into this, let's start Visual Studio and start coding it. Let's see how I can access this storage account through my web API, my C# web API. That might be more interesting. So I have Visual Studio 2019 Community Edition. I'm going to create a new project. Okay, I need a core web application. Okay, I'll call it as my file manager. Okay, I just want to keep that location as it is. Create. I want a web API application, so I'll select web API here and make sure I have the latest version of ASP.NET Core. I'm going to disable this HTTPS. Let me create, so it might take a minute or two to generate that boilerplate for us. Okay, so it's ready now. Okay. So you people might be already familiar with this. Like by default, it will add a controller here for testing. We can actually run this and test if everything is okay. Yeah, I think it's loading now. The project what we have created right now, it's good. So we are able to call it default API. Okay, I'll stop this. Okay, let us add a new API or a new controller. Okay, I want an basic controller so that I can change the code here. I want to call it as home controller. We are going to use this home controller throughout our session today. Yeah, guys, please bear with me. I think my system is really getting stuck today. I think it should be fine now. Let me go back. Okay, so I have this controller now. But I'll remove some code here. I'll remove this get method. I'll keep this port method. We might need it later. So I'll remove all the methods so that our code is neat and clean. Okay, we have home controller now. Let me create a constructor. Public home control. Sorry, home controller. Okay, I need eye configuration here. So that I can access the configuration settings. I'll tell you why do we need that. Let's add this variable. Okay, we have private variable here that's added. Okay, I'm going to change this default method signature here to a async task. Action result should be fine for us. Yeah, okay. So let's return something. Okay. All right, okay. In order to access the storage account what we have created right now, we need something to identify that we are authenticated and we are authorized, and for that we have access keys here. Okay, if you go to the overview page, if you like, I'll go to home so that it's more clear. I go to the recent resources here. We have created my file manager storage account. Okay, then I go to access keys. Okay, I think I have to move this around. Okay, I'll copy this connection string. Okay, I'm going to copy this connection string. And in .NET Core projects, we have a app setting file. For development environment, we use this one. I'm going to add this here. Azure, and under that, because there might be multiple services, so I'll just go to storage. Under that, connection string. Okay, I'm storing this connection string here. So it's under Azure storage and connection string. Okay, so this way we will be able to connect to our storage account. So in this get method, let's read that setting here, what we have just saved in app setting file. String connection string. Okay, for that configuration, I want to get Azure, then it was storage, then it was connection string. Okay, we can actually copy it from here so that we don't make sure there are no spelling mistakes. I think we are good. Storage and Azure. So we got our connection string here, connection string to that Azure account. Okay. Okay, so we need to actually add a reference to NuGet package in order to work with Azure storage blocks. Okay, I go to browse. I'll add a reference here, Azure storage. Okay, we need this one. So this is a latest stable version. I'm going to install this. Okay, yeah, it's installed now. Okay, it's added to our project now. So I can close this one. I'll go back. I'll refer it here using azure.storage.blobs. Okay. So let's come back to our get method, the very first method what we were writing. So we need an instance to blob service client to connect to that account. Okay, I need to pass this connection string, the one we just got reference from app setting. Okay, we got the connection string here and we're connecting that storage account, and within that storage account I need to connect to that container, right? The container what we have created. So for that we need an instance of blob container client. Okay, I'll call it as a blob container client is equals to on this blob service client dot get blob container client. I'll pass the name of that particular container. What was the name of the container? Okay, let me go here. I'll go to container. I called it as my folder. So I'll just copy this one, or I can just type it there. It should be my folder. Okay. So this is for testing, guys. Like if everything, like if I'm able to connect to this and this is fine, we should get something back, right? Let's see, what do we have? Blob container client dot account name. So it should display a name of our account. I'll just add some text. Okay, let me run this. If we are able to successfully connect, we should get this text, and after that we should get this name of the account, that storage account what we have. I'm running my project now. So by default it should load that weather control, that weather API, and we are using app.NET Core 3.1 latest version here. Okay, I'll wait for this, and now I'll go to my home URL, that API what we have created. So by default it is going to call the get method. So everything is good, right? We got that message and we were able to connect to our file manager storage account. So that is the name of my storage account. That means we are able to successfully connect to that storage account. Next thing is, like I want to upload something. I want to upload a file to the storage account from my web API. And to upload and to send data, right, we need post method. I'm going to use this post method. I want to send the file from form, and I want to send a file, iForm file. I'll call that as file. Okay, I'll change the signature here. Okay. All right. All right. Okay. Few things are very similar. Like I need to get this connection string, then I need to connect to that account, then I need to go into this folder. So I'll just copy to save time here. So I'll stop this. Okay. So we just got the connection string. We connected to the storage account. We have just seen, right? I just copied these 3 lines here, and we are connecting to that. Now I want to send this data, the client, the file which I am receiving from this API call. I want to send that file to that container. For that I need a client, blob client. Blob is nothing but a file. Okay, and this is a variable. Container, I want to send that right to container client dot get blob client. Okay, I'll pass the name of that file dot file name. Okay, so this is actually, it's pointing a link to this folders, and we are sending this file here. So before we send this file, I want to read that file into a memory. I'm creating a variable called memory. So new. Okay. So I'll copy everything into the memory. Copy. I mean, this is pretty basic, right? You people already know how to upload files in your. So we are just uploading to the Azure account now, Azure storage account. Okay, what is the problem here? Memory. Okay, I'll change to memory stream. I think we may need to add some reference. Yeah, okay, here, fine. Okay, so what I did, I just created a memory stream variable, and this file, what we are going to receive from here, I'm copying into a memory, and we need to reposition this pointer. Position equals to 0. Okay, now I will send this to our client, blob client dot upload. So upload a sync, I'll pass this variable, whatever we read into that, right? Then there are two parameters. The second parameter I'm passing is true. It's nothing. What we are saying is, like, if this file is already existing there, we want to just override that file there. Okay, this should be it. Once we call this, it's going to return some response to this. If you see, like, if you hover on this, it's going to return something to us. So I'll take that into a result. Okay, if everything goes well, we should be able to return. Okay, return. Okay, result dot, we should have something, or we should have, let's return the complete path of that, no, the absolute path of that. I'm going to copy, and there is a property called URI. Under that there is a property called absolute URI. So the complete path of the file which we upload, so we should be able to get this once this is done. So let me run this. So again, it should load that default weather API. Okay, guys, we know that we cannot call, this is a post method, right? We are going to send this, right? We cannot call post method into browsers. Get methods we can test here. To test post method, like I'm using
before we
okay.
Yeah, like, just I want to make one point clear. Like, what we did in here, memory equals to new memory stream, and then we copy it to async. It means that whatever the file we got from the client, we are trying to take it in memory object. That is what we did, right?
Yeah, Manzoor, you are right. So the file which we are receiving from this API call, right? We'll actually see how do we test it. Then we are copying the content of that file into a memory, and we are passing that variable to this object here.
Fine.
We are uploading. Okay. All right. Thanks for getting that cleared. So I did run this, and where was I? Like, yeah. So our project is running, and we know we cannot test post method in browser. So we know we have a tool called Postman to test APIs, and this is very good tool, and there are so many tutorials on web you can find out. We can use this for testing our all APIs. So by default it's a get method. So I'll type HTTP my local host /API/home. So it should still call that get method, the first method, and we should get the result back that I am good, and we should get the name of that file storage. Yeah, this is fine. So now let's test the post method. I'm going to change the parameter, the type of the method to post, and the URL is still same, right? Yeah, we didn't add anything here. So this URL, we are just changing the type, and we said we will be passing iForm file. Basically, we are going to pass an attachment with a parameter name as file. So let me go to body, and we said we'll set it from form. Right? That's what we told, right? We're going to send it from form. So file. I'll change this to a text so that I can select a file here. Okay, I have few files. We have already uploaded this. Now I will upload a dummy file. Okay, as a PDF file. And let me click send. So we are waiting for the response. Okay, if you look at the code, we got connection string, we connected to that storage account, we connected to this particular folder called container. Then we passed our file, and everything goes well. We just got the complete path of that resource, the complete path of the file we just got uploaded. So this is the complete path. We can actually cross-check it by going to our storage account. So if I go into my storage account, I go to my folder. Now I should have two files here. So see, we got the second file. So guys, we have seen how do we create a storage account. We have seen how do we upload, how do we connect to this through C# or Web API, and we have seen how do we upload this. So next thing is like, yeah, I want to come back to this app service. Let's set up a SQL server first. Like what happens normally in real-time scenarios is like once you upload your file, you want to store this data. You want to store this particular absolute path to the database, name of the file, when it was uploaded, and all these things. So for that, what we need to do is we need to create a database. Let me go back to this home. Okay, you should see an icon here, a shortcut, SQL databases. I'm going to click on the SQL database. Let's create a SQL database here. Right now we don't have any. So I'm going to click on add. Remember when we were creating our storage account, we created a group called my group. So basically what we are saying is like all of my resources belongs to this group. So this is a logical group. So this is the first database we are going to create here. So we need to create the server first. Remember, like even in your SQL server in your local system, right? When you connect, this is your server name, and within this you will have multiple databases. The same thing here. So first we have to create a server. So I click on create new. I'll give name as, I'll save my DB server. Okay, this should be fine. Yeah, that's fine. It says it's already in use, so let me call my SQL DB. Just add webinar. It should not be there. We can use this one, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So my server name is MySQL DB webinar. Okay. I'm creating an admin user. The username is admin user. Password. I'm just giving random R capital uppercase at 1 2 3. Okay. So I just need to confirm uppercase random at 1 2 3. Okay, this should be good. Okay, now we are going to give the name of the database. On that particular server, we are creating a new database. I'll call my attachments. This should be fine here. Okay, so we can configure like based on our requirement. We can choose what kind of database you want. What is just storage limit and the number of CPUs, high scale. So you based on all these things, you can select. Based on your requirement, you can select how much you want, and based on your selection, it will cost you. So because this is a demo, I just want pretty basic one. So I don't even want 2 GB. I think 500 MB should be fine for this demo. So all right, yeah, I just want very basic. I just decrease the number of the space I want. Okay, I'm going to networking, next tab. Next, we're just going to leave most of the things as default. Okay, this is fine. Yeah, it's going to review and create. Okay, So it says it's going to charge me this much per month because whatever I have selected. So again, this might take a minute or two for us to, for this to get set up. Again, you can keep an eye on this notification icon. It should get set up pretty quickly. Okay, meanwhile, I just want to go to this database. I want to show you the script what I have. I just saved it to save time. So this is nothing, fancy, pretty simple. I'm creating a table called attachment document, and I have, this is ID is a primary key, auto-generated. In doc path, I will store that complete path, this complete path. Then I have a file name. I'll just store the last part of that, only the name of the file. And I'll also store the time it was uploaded. So I'm going to create this particular table. Let's see, it's still underway. So meanwhile, let me just add some NuGet packages in order to work with, let me stop. In order to work with database, right, in C# in .NET Core, you need to add some packages, that Entity Framework Core packages. So I'll go to browse. I need Entity Framework Core. Okay. I need core one, right? Yeah. Okay. So I need this package. I'll install. Guys, this Azure is pretty huge. So like things to remember is like don't get lost. Just try to take everything one step at a time so that you feel confident what you're doing. Then you can start exploring. There are so many things, like there are so many things you can, whatever you're doing right now, you can do it in a better way with Azure. So first you understand what it is, then you can start exploring. Like it's pretty easy to get lost into that huge forest out there. So be careful and take one step at a time so that you can have your production environment on a very good infrastructure. So I'll add one more here. One last thing, Entity Framework. I also want to add this one. I think we should be good. Let me go back. Okay, it says your deployment is complete. I'll go to that resource. So this is my SQL database, my attachment, and server name is MySQL DB web server. So let us try to connect to this. Okay, I'll click on show connection string. Okay, this is huge connection string. I'll just copy this name of the server. Sorry. Okay, I'll copy this. I'm going to my SQL server here. I'm opening a new connection. I'll paste in that name, and I know I've created a user called admin user, and password was random@123. Okay, I want it to remember this password. Let's click on connect. Let's see what happens. Okay, it says there's no firewall rule allowed. Basically what it is doing is it is adding a security layer that not everybody can access. Even if you have a username and password, you'll still not be able to connect to that database server. So what do I need to do? I need to allow this IP address. I need to whitelist this IP address onto the SQL server. How do I do that? Let's go to this overview, and we need to set this server firewall, and I need to enter my IP address here. Okay, so this is my IP address, and they have given a very good button here. Like if you just click on add client IP address, it will take the current IP address and it will add it there. Okay, so it has added that IP address. So basically what we are saying is just allow all the requests coming from this particular IP address. Okay. While we are on this page, I also want to show you this thing. Allow Azure services and resources to access this service. By default, it is no. I'm going to turn it on yes. Okay, remember this PowerPoint. Okay, what we have seen. Okay, this one. So we have created a storage account. Now we have created a SQL database, and all these are in logical group called my resource, right? My group. If I go up on cancel, I think I have to save this one first. Cancel. I'll save this. I turned it yes. It is updating. Okay, I'll go onto my home page. See my group. So in this group, I have all these resources. So I have my SQL server. I have my database. Then I have my storage account. So on that particular page, let me go here. Then again, we'll go to this. Okay, sorry. Okay, I have to go to database. Okay, it went to the server. So we are working on this particular database, right? So if I go to set firewall, sorry guys, just there was a heavy rain today. I know in Hyderabad, so the networks are very slow today. Okay, we are on this page back. So we allowed this. So basically what we are saying is just trust everybody here. Within this logical group, trust everybody and grant access to them. Okay, we'll see when we actually get into that app service, that web server. So just to show you that we just allowed this one. It's an important point. You just need to remember that. Okay. All right. So now we have database. Now we have storage. Let's come back to our code. Let's add that connection string. Okay. Okay, under Azure storage, we already have that. So let me add a SQL connection. Okay, no problem. Under that, I want to add connection string. So how do I get this connection string? Again, I can go here. Sorry. Okay, I go to this database. I can just copy this connection string. I click on this copy. Okay. I just paste it here. Okay. I need to update the password here. Okay. Everything else should be fine. The database is fine. Password is okay. Whatever the password we kept. Okay. I just gave random at 1, 2, 3. I'm just updating the password here. Okay, let's try to connect from SQL server. We were not able to connect, right? Now we should be able to connect. Okay, under this, we have created this my attachment. Okay, I'll create this table here. I'm copying this and I'm going to run this script here. Right now, we should not have any tables because this is a brand new database. So there are no tables right now. Okay, I'm going to run this. Okay. Right. So if I just refresh, it should show me the new table what we have created right now. Okay, we got this new table and we have seen columns, right? This is ID, the primary key, then doc path, file, and date key. Okay, I'll go back to I have my connection string, I have NuGet packages, I should be able to connect. Okay, let me inject that, let me do one thing, let me add the data models here first. Okay, I'll create a folder, or Dal. Okay, to save time, I have already created those two files. I'm just going to add the existing file. I'll explain you what are those. So those are pretty basic. You people should already know it. Where is that? Code snippets. Okay, I'm going to add this too. So first thing, this is my data model. It's just matching up my table. The ID, document name, file name, document path, and file name. And another file is this DB context file, my attachment context DB, and we are referring that particular table here. So nothing fancy, pretty simple, right? It's a one-to-one mapping. So we just have one table. Okay, let's inject this in our startup file now. Let's configure that one. So we already have configuration here, right? Sorry. Okay. Services dot add DB context. You guys know this. This is nothing new. When this is pretty old
Yeah.
DB context.
Excuse me, Mr. Jail. Can you just recheck the password that you have in your connection string in your setting file?
Okay.
Is correct, or have you missed something?
Oh, okay. Thank you. Thanks for pointing out random. We just mistyped that. It was random at 1, 2, 3. Thanks, Manzoor. It saved time. Otherwise, we would have been struggling to find out what went wrong. Thank you.
Yeah, well,
Okay. Okay. Options. Dot use SQL Server. SQL Server. Here I want to pass that connection string. Configuration. Okay, we have now. I'll pass Azure SQL. I'll just copy it. Otherwise, maybe I'll make more errors here. Connection. Sorry. Okay. Then connection string. This should be fine. So we are injecting this DB context in your startup file. Now we should be able to use this context in our controller. Okay, home controller. Okay. My attachment context. It should add this already. I'll call it as context. Context equals to context. Okay. We want to add this variable. Yeah. All right. So now with this context, we should be able to save the data. So let's go back to the post method. After uploading this file, now if it is successfully uploaded, we want to put it into this table, right? What is the table? Attachment document table. Okay. Attachment document table. I'll just call it as document new attachment document. We want to pass variables here. We're going to pass doc path. Doc path, we know where it is. It is in block client URI. This is the complete URI. I'll just pass this one. Then I want to pass file name. File name, we know file name is here. Okay. And I want to pass date. Date created is date time dot now. This should be fine. ID it will automatically generate. Let's save this underscore context. Sorry. Underscore context dot attachment document dot add. Now I'll pass this variable what we created. Then underscore context dot save changes should be fine. Okay. Okay, when everything went fine, like we are able to save this, upload this, then we are able to save this, we should return, instead of returning the URL, we'll return the ID. It just generated document.id. Okay, the primary key value, what it's, right now it's blank, right? Okay, I just copied. Okay, select star from this one. This is empty. So we should, after uploading, we should have something here. So let me run this project again. Think there's an error. It should be uppercase ID. Okay. Let me stop this build. Okay, this is I is uppercase. Let me run it now. I think it's loading now. I'll go back to this Postman. This is a tool which we are using to call APIs. Okay, so okay, now it is loaded. I'll remove this because this PDF file we've already uploaded, right? It's already there in our account. So let's upload some other file this time. Under this container. Okay, oh, okay. So I have removed. I'll select another file now. This time I'll select a sample text file. Okay. So let's look at our code. What we are doing, we are connecting to that account, to that container, that folder. We are passing this file, copying everything into memory, then uploading. When if everything is fine till here, then we're going to upload that. We're going to save that record into database. Then finally, we're going to return the ID it just got generated. Okay. This is a post method passing this one. Okay. All right, it's waiting. We are sending that request. We are waiting for the response. If everything goes well, we should have that ID here. Okay, so it took a little more time, but it was able to return something to us. So let's first see if we have a new file here or not. We have a new file, sample text file. Now at the same time, we should have a record here. Okay, so we have a record. This is a complete path. This is the name of the file and it was uploaded this time. Okay guys, one last thing which is left out is how do I download this file now? Okay, for that I'll stop this. I'll create another method. Get method should be fine for this. I'll just copy this one so we just save some time. Okay. Okay, and for downloading, I also need to find out the type of the file. So in my, I have one file which I just want to use it so that we just save some more time. Okay, this one. Okay, this is a pretty basic method, just a private method. I'll tell you what we are doing here. Okay, we are going to find out the type of the file which we are going to download, whether it's a PDF file. We actually need this for content type. Okay, so I'll give this name as download, and we need to pass a parameter, right? ID. Okay, I'll rename this method as download, and we are going to read. Thing we missed this one. Okay, int ID. Again, same thing. Okay, what else? It still says okay, it's not returning anything. Fine, that's fine. Okay, I'm going to copy some part here because in order to download, we again need this connection string. We need to connect to this. We need to connect to this. Then we need to pass the name of the file which we want to download. So I just copied that code. Okay, we're connecting. We're getting this connection string from app setting. We are connected to the storage account. We are connecting to the particular container, that folder, and we need to download this file. We need to pass the name of the file. Name of the file we don't know, but we know it is into the database. So let's get this one first. Okay, var result underscore context dot application. Sorry, what was that? Attachment. Yeah, attachment document dot find. I'll pass this ID. So basically, while calling this download method, I'll pass this ID. Okay. Okay, so I should have the result here. In this result, I have the file name, result.file name. Okay. Again, I need to read it into a memory before I send it down through this HTTP response for this particular API call. So whatever the file, I'm going to read it from the storage. I want to save that into memory. It's again new memory stream. Memory stream. Okay, here it is. Okay, download. Okay, this client dot download to. We want to download this to this memory. So it's pretty understandable, right? While uploading, we were just reading everything on local file, putting into memory, then passing that memory, whatever we have that content into the memory, we're passing the same thing. Now we are reading it from the blob, putting everything into the memory. Now I'll pass this memory down to the HTTP response for download. Okay, one more thing we have to do. We have to reposition it to 0. Okay. All right. Return new file stream result. Okay. So when anybody call this API, they should, in response, they should get that file downloaded. That is what. So it's here, memory. Now I'm going to use the private method I've created, and I'll pass the file name here. Result dot doc path. Okay, so it should find out the document path of it. Okay, what we want, I want this file download name is get file. We want not full path, we want file name. Okay, and we know file name is here, result dot. Okay, so that's it. Again, pretty simple. I mean, people who already work with web APIs, uploading, downloading files. So this is nothing new here. You're just getting reference to this and saving and reading it to a memory. Then you're passing that memory stream into HTTP response as a file stream result. Okay. Let me again run this. Okay, this is a get method. So we should be able to call it in our browser. Or we can just call it again back into the HTTP, whatever you feel is comfortable and helpful. We can use either of that. I'm going to use this browser. Okay, I know the path was API/home/download, and I want to pass that ID. ID is 1, right? I'll pass that ID. Anyway, so it should connect to the database, get that record reference, then it should connect to the storage account and read it to memory and give us the file as download. Okay. So, okay, we got that file downloaded here. See? The file is downloaded here. That's fine. You can use URL encode and all to get that, to remove this one and all. That is a part of your C# project. So that is something not new for us. So we have seen basically almost everything. Let me go back here. Okay. No. Where is that? Okay. We go back to the agenda. We have seen how do we create an account. I just showed you what are the steps involved. Then we have seen how I create a storage account. We didn't see this. I'll show you this one right now very quickly. And then we have seen SQL database. We have written the code for all these things. So final thing is like we need to put all these things. We are doing it from our local system. Now I want to put everything onto the URL where my end users client can actually access it. Another thing, like for this demo and for this webinar, we didn't created any UI. So I just leave this UI to you, like based on your requirement. You can use MVC for creating a UI for this. You can use Angular, or you can use React.js or PHP. So depending on your URL, today like we are just concentrating on the server side of it. So let's go, let's see the final part of it. We'll create an app service, then we'll see how do I push my files on the app service. Then we'll test one simple scenario on that again. So I go onto the dashboard. Okay, I click on app service. So again, app service is nothing but your web server, an address for your website to be accessed from outside. Okay, I want to use the same resource group.
So Mr. Jalil, in other words, we are trying to host or publish the service that we have created on Azure. Is it that?
Exactly. Right, exactly.
Fine.
So basically whatever we did for last 1 hour, we were able to connect to Azure account, we were able to Azure storage account, we were able to connect to the Azure SQL database, and all those things we were doing it locally from our local host, right? You see that URLs, localhost. Now I want to put everything onto the Azure Azure service, right? So I want to call that name as my file manager. I'm not sure if it is available. I think it's not available. So let me just shorten it. My file manager webinar. It should be available. Okay. So this is the name of our my file webinar.azure website.net. Okay. Again, I can change the size depending on my requirement. I'm going to choose a very small version of it. So I got to use development. 1 GB memory is enough. I'll just click on apply. Okay, here I have to choose the runtime stack. Remember when we are creating our project, right, we will choose 3.1. So I'll choose the same thing, 3.1 here, .NET Core. Again, I think I have to change size. I think 1 GB should be fine. Anyways, next thing, monitor. I'm not going to change anything here. We'll leave that for an advanced section of this topic. We just want to see the pretty basics today. So let's create. Again, this might take a minute or two. Meanwhile, what I'll do is I'll go back to my solution. I'll get this package ready so that I can push it. So we know, right, in order to get this working, we have to update this in our app setting files. In production environment, this files will get accessed. Okay. So this is good. This is also good. Okay, I'm going to push this. Okay, we want to stick to our old ways. You can directly push it to your app service here, to web service here, to your Azure account. But I still want to do the old ways, like how I used to do with my old web server. So I just get more accustomed to it, and slowly when I start exploring more into this, I'll maybe in next webinar or some other version, we'll see how we directly post it here. So I want to post it to any server. I'll choose C drive temp folder, temp, and under that I'll create a new my file manager webinar. I want to push it here. Okay, publish. Okay, it should be created. Okay, now our website is created. I can go to that resource. Our web server, or it's called app service here. So if I just browse this one, okay, this is the URL, right? MFF my file manager webinar dot. It's going to give a subdomain on this Azure website. And this is a pretty default page which they're giving us. So that means our site is set up and it's able to access. If I share this URL, you people should be able to access this. To demo, I'm going to another browser. I'll just type that here and browse. We should be able to see the same page here. All right. Okay, so our website is up and running, and there are a few things we need to see here. Okay. In order to push, we need FTP access, right? So this is your FTP host name, and this is your FTP username. And in order to set password, you have to go to deployment center. Okay, remember this part. Like we need to set up the password for this. So you have to go to deployment center. So there are various ways you can deploy it. That is what I was talking about. So you can use Azure, Repos, GitHub, so many things. I want to do it locally, manually. I want to use FTP. Okay, I want to set some credential. The username is FTP access. Password, I'm setting same random at 123. R capital random at 123. Okay, save credential. I think it should be published. Yeah, it's published. No issues here. It was successfully published. Okay, for like there are so many tools out there. I usually use FileZilla. It's pretty good tool to connect to your FTP server and push your files. Okay, you can directly give here, or you can store it here if you want to. You know, there is a site manager. You can store all these files here. So what I would do is I'll so that and I in future I can just come back here and connect directly. So let's update these things. Okay, under Azure folder, I'll go back here. This is updated. This is my web server. Okay. First, I'll copy this host name. Okay. Okay. Then I'll copy the username. Username is this one. Okay. And then I'll type the password here. Random R capital 123. Okay. I'll say connect. So it was published here. I'll just copy this path. So looks like everything is fine. It's getting connected. So I need to push this files on the server. Okay. I'll remove this one. It's not needed now. Okay, I'm going to push this. I want to show you one thing. So there are about so again it might take a minute or two depending on your internet speed.
Alright, we have deployed all the files on our app service. Now let's go to Azure portal and let's try to browse this site now. Let's see what do we get here. Okay, this is good. It is giving us HTTP error 404. That means looking for an API. It's not able to find an API. Let's pass our API path here. Okay, we got the result back from our initial get method we wrote in the beginning. Okay, I'm going to copy this URL and we'll go to Postman and test our other APIs here. I'm opening a new tab here. I am just pasting that. Let's just test this once again here in Postman. So we should get everything is fine. I am still good. This is good. So remember to upload a file we need a post method and we need to pass a body. Parameter name is file. Okay, I want to send it as a file. Select it. This time I want to send this image. Okay, let's click on send. Alright, we got what it did is it uploaded the file, then it added a row into the table and it is returning us the ID of the new row inserted. Let's go to the server, database server, and check how many rows we have. So we got this third row. It should also be uploaded onto a storage account. Okay, so now we have a row here in this table, and let's go to our Azure portal and check in the storage account that new file is uploaded or not here. It should be uploaded there because we got that path right. The file manager, let's go to our container and this is my container. So I have that new file here. That is good. Now we'll try to call the download method. Remember, for download we need a get method, and I'm going to pass download, and I think I have to pass an ID here. So let's pass ID, the recent one what we just uploaded. I'm going to pass 3. Send. Okay, this file is downloaded here. I can just save it, or I can just call this into a browser directly. This is a get method, right? Okay, I'll go to Chrome browser. So this file is downloaded. So alright guys, that's all we have for today.